Okay. I can tell more people are logging in, so I'm just going to give it a minute and then we'll get going. Okay, so hi again, everyone. Glad that you're here. As you know, we're running through a lot of the IDC orientation as an introduction to the program, the faculty, and the staff. You've been meeting all of us throughout the day, and I'm excited to have the chance to meet virtually. Many of you have been dropping into some of the other sessions to try to hear some of the introductions. So I'm really excited, as I am every year, to welcome you and to get to know you. I would love it if we could do some introductions now, but I think I'm going to hold off and just run through my slides. And then if we have some time at the end, I'd love to try to work around the screens and let you all introduce yourselves to me and to each other. And of course, I'll leave time for questions as well. Okay. So the goal of this session is to clearly give you just an overview of the career resources that are available to you in IDCE as you complete the next 2 years. And for some of you, it'll be a shorter amount of time. Everyone's at their own pace, just like with your careers, right? You come at this with different perspectives and different time frames. So I also want to introduce myself and give you a little bit of background information about who I am and what I do beyond career development, or at least tell you a little bit more about my career in career development. So again, my name is Sharon Hanna. I'm the Director of Career Development for IDCE. My role is dedicated to all the students in IDCE. So as you learn more about campus, you'll learn that there are other career units on campus. There's the Career Connection Center, which services the undergraduate school. And then the School of Management also has their own career services unit. And I represent the IDCE Career Development Office. I have a GA that I work with each year, Katerina Hu. She's actually a second-year student. You'll be hearing more about Katerina. She's not with me today, but she has an important role with my office. So you'll be hearing more from her as well, mostly through your email, which you've become familiar with. I think if you've been reading my emails, and I hope you have. It may seem early, but it's not. I'll talk about that. So I've lived in this area most of my life. I've lived in the Midwest for a very short period of time, and I've lived in Maine as well. I have 2 adult sons. I have, as of last Saturday, I have 2 daughter-in-laws. One of my sons got married, and I have 2 grandchildren. And fun fact, between all of us, there's 5 Clark degrees. I have a graduate degree from Clark. My daughter-in-law has a BA, MBA from Clark, and my 2 sons did their undergrad at Clark. So I've also been working at Clark for a number of years. Been in career development for 20 years. Most of that time has been at Clark. In 2011, I moved over to IDCE from the undergraduate career services. So I have experience working with undergrads. So I know you all experienced career services as an undergrad. But I launched the career development resources in 2011, as I mentioned. And it's been a wonderful progression. We've really grown the alumni network in that time. There's always been a very strong IDC alumni network, but I feel as though in the last 10 years, we've been able to bring that more to the surface. And as professional networking has taken on a bigger role in the career development process, especially these last probably 7 or 8 years, we know we've been able to grow that, and it's flourished, and we have a real welcoming environment of alumni. And also the resources have expanded as well. Um, I want to let you know too that I meet you where you are, right? So career development, there are strategies and there are um, really common practices to follow when you're pursuing a career, or at least now as a student, you might be thinking more about the internships that you can complete as a student. But there is no one prescription for everyone, and I recognize that. I've been doing this for 20 years, and I've met with thousands of students over the years, and no one student approaches this the same. And that makes my job really interesting. But it also helps you as a student to know that I don't have expectations that everyone is on the same schedule. But there are certain things that I do recommend that you practice while you're a student and not waiting, which is another reason why we're doing this now and not, you know, in October or November. I'm going to encourage you to get on this early. And I'm sure many of you have already been thinking about that. You know, one of the things that I am asked frequently when prospective students are learning about the program is, where do IDC students go on, graduates go on to work? I'm going to talk about that today as well. I mentioned the IDC community. You've already met, a lot of you have already met each other, and some of you may already know some of our current students or even our alumni. I often say that the added value to your IDC degree is this network that's baked in from the moment you start and for your future. As you've been introducing yourselves to each other, you might have already started to find some common threads. Some of you may have gone to the same undergrad, or maybe you grew up in the same state. These are all connections that you can build on while you're here as a student, and you can also share between you. So again, why are we doing this now? We're doing it now because it's really important to get engaged early. And that doesn't necessarily mean applying for jobs, although it's a good idea to be researching. It doesn't necessarily mean, and there's an expectation that you're applying for jobs, but you might be getting your documents ready, your resume, you may be wanting to practice cover letter writing skills, but there's more to the career development process than those documents. And this is why it's important to start early. I'd also say that it's important to commit to this as a process. I often advise, take 20 minutes a day, every other day, a week. Take some chunk of time that you can budget into your schedule to focus on this process. So again, some of the common questions I get is not only where do our students and graduates intern and work, they want to know how quickly they get hired. And so I can tell you, the last 4 years, these outcomes have been very close, very similar. So 64% of the graduates looking for work, which is the vast majority of the students as they graduate, 64% at 3 months out of graduation have been employed full-time. And the good news is that, you know, the job market definitely took a hit, as we all know, in this last 6 months, but those numbers of our graduates really didn't change. We do have a few more who are, I would say maybe it's slightly less than 64% who were hired at 3 months, but I would say that the 73% you see represented as an average of full-time employment at 6 months is very close to target. I'd spent a lot of my time also researching where our grads are working, and a lot of our grads are telling me where they work. They stay in touch with me, so I'm able to capture this data. So I want to say this is really, really promising news, and I only expect it to get better, because so many of the careers that our IDC students are seeking are in the job markets that have not taken the hit as much as some of the other sectors. I'm not saying that there's no complication to the job market. There definitely is, but it's looking promising. So I want you to know that. This is a representation of just a few, honestly, just a few of the organizations that have hired our students as interns and as full-time employees, and in many cases, both. You probably all recognize that employers like to hire from within, and so we do see a lot of success with our students getting hired into full-time positions after they've completed an internship. with an organization. So I just wanted to give you this visual to give you a sense. I'm sure that you can recognize a lot of these organizations. Whoops. I didn't mean to stop sharing my screen. Hold on. Can you see it? Yes? Okay,
Yes.
great. Good.
Yep.
I don't know what I did. I'm not going to play around too much. I'll just keep it on this view. So I don't want to lose it again. So I want to dispel a couple of the myths, right, of career development. I was already, hinting at this before. The best time to look for a job is not when you need one, despite what you might think. And of course, as a student, your priority is class, right? And I recognize that and I respect that. But making some time along the way is going to prepare you and give you a sense of confidence when you are actually needing the job or the internship. There's a lot of stress. A lot of stress comes with all of a sudden, I'm going to be. It's May and I'm thinking I want a summer internship and now I have to do this. I haven't had time to think about it. And now it's May and I want a summer internship. Well, I've seen it happen and it does happen, but I've also seen all the stress that goes with it. So it doesn't have to be that way. So, and there's also a lot of stuff you want to be doing ahead of time, like talking to people, doing the work you're interested in, or working at the organizations you want to be at. So this takes time and this is part of the process. So don't wait. I know it seems like you could push this to the back burner, but I really advise you not to. Also, that phrase, or the answer you have to tell me about yourself, you've already just today experienced that. I'm sure most of you have, where all of a sudden you've got to introduce yourself and say a little bit about your aspirations. In this case, what brought you to IDCE and what do you want to do with your degree? And a few of you might have been thinking, oh, I haven't really thought about saying that out loud yet. But this is a really important time to practice that because you'll be meeting a lot of people beyond IDCE throughout your program. And to be able to introduce yourself, to be able to say what it is you want to pursue, even if you change your mind a bunch of times, that's okay, is going to help people help you. So preparing that response is also part of this process. So again, it could take longer, will take longer than you think. Make it a priority, give yourself some time, budget it in your schedule now to be thinking about, today I might do some research on organizations. Tomorrow I might have a conversation with someone. All of that is engagement. If it's 10 to 15 minutes, it's okay. If it can be more, great, but I don't expect it will be. But being able to do this, again, is preparing you for that career confidence. So what is that exactly? So that's really the sum of passion and purpose, right? The passion is what gets you excited about being in your career, being in the organization that you've been dreaming about being part of. Your purpose is what's driving you. What are you determined to resolve in the world, globally? And also your coursework, right? Which is an added layer of your professional development. You may have taken other courses, you've done your undergrad, but all of this is part of your developing your career confidence. But it's being able to make a plan around all this knowledge that is going to give you that career confidence. Okay, so the resources that I've been speaking about, what are they exactly? So I do a lot of one-on-one advising. I prefer to meet with students in my office, but we know that that's not possible this semester, hoping for next semester. But we've been running Zoom sessions since March, and it's been going well. It's been going very smoothly. So the one-on-one meetings I value a lot because it gives me the chance to understand. Again, I talked about meeting you where you are. So those, especially the first one, allows me the chance to learn about you and about where you want to go next after you complete this program. And having that knowledge helps me help you. Because as I said before, there is no one prescription for everybody. And my practice is to approach it that way. I want you to develop your focus statement. So again, that introduction, what is it you want to do? We'll practice that. And you can work all the kinks out with me in my office, just like practicing interviewing, which is another resource that I offer. We'll talk about job descriptions before we even really talk about cover letters, because you really don't write a cover letter well if you haven't examined the job description, dissected the job description, really. We can update your resume. A lot of you may have had summer experiences. I know a number of you have also come out of Peace Corps, and you may have had a chance to update your resume over the summer, but we've all been kind of living in a surreal universe. So some of that updating needs to happen now, so I can help you with that. I have a critique service, which means beyond the meeting with you, if you send me your documents, I can mark them up and get them back to you with some feedback, and then we can have a conversation as a follow-up to that. If you did go to undergrad career services, I'm sure a lot of this is familiar to you. So it's really not unlike what you had offered to you as an undergrad, but I would say that it's a little more complex at the grad level because you have a lot more now to add to your repertoire of skills and experience. So obviously job search and internship strategies is a big part of those conversations. I do mock interviews. I just did one this morning actually, and a couple yesterday of folks that just graduated. Alumni connections, I did speak about that earlier. We have such a welcoming, open community. You may have noticed, if you've been checking those emails, which I'll share a little more detail about, the IDCE Career Update is going to always show up in the subject of my emails. And I try to consolidate those. I respect your time, and I understand you get a ton of email, but this is the fastest, most detailed approach that I can share the information that comes in, and it's usually always timely. So I would say make a folder for my emails, but don't let it simmer. Really open those up and scan them every time and just see if there's something that's timely or something that is really capturing your attention based on your interest, because you want to be opportunistic whenever possible. Most of these things I'm sending out are deadline driven. So you want to check those things and don't wait. Academic deadlines are not the same as job application deadlines. You know, if your paper is due tonight by midnight or today by midnight, you might wait till 11:55 to submit it. And I wouldn't blame you for that. I did that too. But with job applications and the deadline is tomorrow and you're thinking, I'll back burner that and I'll take care of that the day before, I don't recommend that strategy. And there's a number of reasons why, but one of them is that employers do start scanning applications as they come in most cases. In a lot of cases, they're just reviewing, and if they get the short list early, they may hire before they even see your application if you haven't sent it in early enough. So that's one piece of advice regarding the updates. For sure, please read them. But you'll also notice the trend with those emails, their job lists and internship lists and resources. They all come from our network, which includes faculty, current students, and always alumni. The vast majority of the jobs that come in are alumni, because over the years, students have been able to apply for positions that we've learned about through alumni, and they've learned how effective that is. This is not what you know, it's who you know and what they know about you. And so they give back when they graduate. So a lot of the jobs that you see are coming to us because that alum experienced the same kind of networking when they were a student and they're giving back. And I hope you do too when you graduate. I will I'm going to skip over that one. I want to talk about focus statement for a second. This is a little bit about your introduction. I want to practice, not today, but I want you to practice this over time to be able to respond to this. I think it always sounds great in our heads when we're thinking about how we might respond to a question like this or an introduction, but then we go to say it and it doesn't come out the same way. I see this a lot with mock interviewing especially. Students practice and practice what they're going to say and they kind of write it down and think about it, but then when they go to articulate it out loud, it starts to not come across so smoothly. So this is important to do now, because as you start to meet more faculty, more staff, more students, more people outside IDCE, you want to have a really sharp answer, a sharp statement. I can help you with that, and you can also practice with your peers as well. Okay, so another question I get a lot is, it's fall semester, what should I be doing right now? Well, first, you're here listening to me, and that's excellent because I'm trying to just give you the overview. But if I were to give you a list of things to do this semester, this is it. Send me your resume. If you've updated it, great. If you think you are about to update it, but you haven't really refined it, that's fine. Doesn't need to be perfect for me. I'm not the employer, but I do offer feedback. So update it, send it to me. 24 to 48 hours, I can get it back to you with feedback, and then we can build our conversations from that and schedule your one-on-one with me as well. Again, I know you're not looking for a job now, but this is all about all the things I've been discussing. So it's important to have that first meeting. Anytime through the semester is great. Send me your availability and I'll get you a Zoom link and we'll be meeting for 45 minutes or as long as you have time for. You can practice cover letter writing. A mock cover letter is fine, but honestly, I really think that that time is well spent if you're actually going to apply for an internship for the fall semester, or you're thinking about next semester or intersession. Practice the cover letter. There's a whole formula to the cover letter writing, and it's probably different than what you've been practicing. So let me see it. I'll give you some feedback, and I also want you to check your LinkedIn profile. A lot of folks say, I've got a LinkedIn profile, but I don't really do anything with it, or I'm really not sure what I should be doing with LinkedIn to begin with. I have a whole workshop on that. I kind of skipped over that on my previous slide about the resources, but I've run workshops throughout the semester. I think I might have sent those links to you already. I mean, not the links, but the schedule. If I haven't, I'll be sending it again. But basically once a week for about 45 minutes, I'll be running sessions on all these topics that I've been discussing so far. Spend time researching organizations that interest you. Even the ones that you're not sure about, research them as well. You might learn something really fascinating that you may decide to pursue them. And you know, all of this on your time. This is actually just a different visual of the same content. And when we meet, I'm really going to want you to introduce yourself, tell me what brought you to IDCE and where you hope to go when you finish IDCE. We'll talk about your past experience beyond academics, and we'll sort of kind of cultivate that into maybe a plan. I understand that your plan might change. It could change the moment you walk out of my door into, well, off my Zoom this year, into a classroom, because you'll be inspired every day. And these goals are going to change, and I think that's a really healthy way to think about your career development. I'd like to share alumni reflections because these are real pieces of advice that have been shared with students over the years. You know, networking, everyone kind of thinks about that as, you know, different opinions about networking. If it feels yucky, it's probably because your approach is about, I need something, so I need to reach out to this person to ask them for something, and that does feel kind of yucky. And that's really not what professional networking is about. It's about building relationships and reciprocity. They also really encourage a lot of leadership. And even though we're virtual this semester, there are opportunities to take on leadership roles, both within the Clark campus, within IDCE, but also externally. Join professional associations, get on boards if you haven't already served on boards. Now is a good time to think about becoming a student member of an association. And those fees are actually much less expensive for students than professionals in the field. Oops, sorry. Be persistent. This takes a lot of resilience, but you can get through it, I promise you. But the big takeaway here is the most common comment is, I wish I started sooner, which circles back to why we're here today talking about this before you start classes. Now, how you find me and our resources is the update that I've been talking about. There is a group on LinkedIn called IDCE Alumni Networking Group. It's exclusive to our alumni group and current students and faculty. You can send a request to join. I manage the group, so I'll see your request and get you in there. There is exchange, a job exchange, and sometimes a resource exchange that happens within that group. There is a Facebook page. IDCE Career Development is the name. And also, you've heard, I think, already about Handshake. If you have a Clark email address, you have access to the Clark Employer Portal Handshake. You may be familiar with it. If your undergraduate program offered Handshake, a lot of schools have it. It's a good tool. It's not the only tool in your toolbox, but I do recommend you use it. You may see, this is important too, you may see a section where you can upload your resume for feedback. If you send it there, it might just sit there, because I need you to send your documents to me directly, to my email, because that's how I'm a one-person office. So this is, for me, the best way for me to manage student document review is through email. So please send them as Word documents if you can. Don't send them to Handshake, all right? Okay, I am going to leave time for questions, but before I get there, faculty have asked me to cover a little bit about communication with them. And as I developed these 2 or 3 slides to respond to that request, it became apparent to me that this is really not just about internal communication with faculty, it's really about professional communication. And faculty really, they will be the people who are your references, right? So build relationships with them. Let them get to know you. Communicate professionally. So when it comes time to write a professional reference or make a verbal reference on your behalf, they have built a relationship with you and they have felt as though they've been respected along the way. So these are real emails that were sent to faculty. So, hey, when does that paper due? Can I have an extension? And you can see on the right side, the more preferable method of communication would be just a more detailed acknowledgement that, the student read the syllabus, they've already researched. They're not asking, for something that they can't find through the syllabus. So they've been trying to, find a way to ask for an extension. This is a more appropriate method. And I can share these slides with anyone who would like to have them, so you can use this as a reference. And actually, this is being recorded. Here's another one. I missed a few classes. Can you catch me up? Also, my paper is going to be late. I can get it to you in a few days. Not cool. The best way to approach that would be just to please, tell the faculty member what happened. Stuff does happen, and faculty do respect that too, and they understand. We have a really resilient and flexible faculty, and very empathetic faculty and staff, I would add. And they'll understand what you're set up with, but at least try to be respectful and professional in how you make these requests. I'm going to leave this slide up so I can take some questions if there are any. And I just need to expand my screen so I can see hands. Anyway, I'm struggling with that view, but please chime in if you have any questions.
Yes, Sharon. So to set up a one-on-one, email is the preferred method of communication there? Or is there
Yes.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
I saw at some point a where you could sign up for appointments and they were booked out for the semester, or there was no appointments being taken. So I'm assuming the email would be the best.
And you probably saw that in Handshake?
Yeah.
Thank you for asking that question, because I don't set my appointments up through Handshake, just like I don't do document review through Handshake.
Okay.
The other offices have more staff, and because of that, that's the method that they like to use, because they have multiple advisors who can take appointments at multiple times. What I tend to do is kind of, again, meeting you where you are. I have a moving schedule all the time, and it's just easier for me to manage my time. Sometimes if a student says, well, I can meet, it's urgent and I can meet tomorrow at 10, and if I've got something that I can move, I'll move it for that student. And so you can't do that with these preset appointment times. So there's a number of reasons I find it much more flexible for myself and the students to do it that way. So just shoot me an email. Just give me some sense of when you're available. I don't need to know your whole schedule, but if you tell me 2 options, I will get you in. We'll work it out. And then now with Zoom, I'll send you a follow-up link once we've confirmed that time.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds easy enough.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks for the question. And I'm not seeing hands, so you tell me, just raise your voice if you would like to ask.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead, Virginia. Sorry.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was just wondering, when we schedule our first one-on-one with you, do you want us to already have our resume and a cover letter to share with you, or what's your, do we send that beforehand, or?
So great question. So I don't need a cover letter. In fact, I would rather we start with the resume.
Okay.
So a great introduction would be to say, I would like to set my appointment up. I'm available and I've attached my resume. I'm not going to critique it necessarily unless you ask me to, but it will help me learn about you. So it's not essential. If you feel like your resume is not ready, don't worry either. I'm not going to critique it, but send it. It would be helpful to me to learn more about you. And you can do your appointment anytime. The semester is getting started and you've got a lot going on. If you want to wait till October, that's fine. Let me know. Whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
Okay.
Hi, Sharon. My name's Scott. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us today. I really appreciate that you emphasized that you were really interested and willing to meet students where they are, and being non-traditional student in my 30s, taking on a major career transition. I was wondering if you could speak a little bit to your approach to someone in that situation.
Yeah. Well, transferable skills is what I would say. My first response to that. There's someone who might want to put themselves on mute. I'm getting some other audio. So if you could, that'd be great. So yes, so this is interesting. This is exciting because I want to learn more about where you were and where you want to go. When we talk, I'll learn that. But just generally speaking, for anyone who's thinking the same way, is that transferable skills. Everything you've done in the past is going to matter in what you do next. The trick is going to be communicating that effectively to employers. Employers don't connect the dots. They don't have time. They don't really want to. They want the candidate to be able to express to them how they're going to contribute to the organization. And so you'll need to practice. This is the field, this is the job that I want, this is what I've done. You're going to need to practice how to connect that. I can help you with that. And as you go through the program, you'll find ways of doing that as well. So that's the nutshell response, but there's more we could talk about. Hope that answered your question.
Hi, Jared. Thanks again for making the time. My question is more about the USA job and those kind of more specific tailored resumes.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone, or do you have experience working with those kind of resumes, or specifics for creating a USA Jobs resume or something like that? Can you hear me okay?
I know you're asking about resumes for USAID.
Yeah, well, USA Jobs, the USA Jobs.
Oh, USA.
Yeah, USA Jobs, federal resumes.
Yes, I can help you with that. If you have not already experienced the USA Gov website, that's a vetting process of its own. It takes time to get through that application process. And unlike other applications where you can be more creative with your format and your layout of the order of your resume, you're going to need to document everything you've ever done. So they're different. They're more complex, but they're not impossible to do. You do want to devote more time to those, though. Okay. These are all great questions, and I think they're important questions that other folks are probably thinking about as well. Any others?
Sorry, just to follow up, like, but is there any like workshops or anything like that specifically? I think I've done some, like the government does make workshops for those websites, but they
Yeah.
don't tell you anything.
No,
So
they don't.
if anything, like just how to navigate USAID jobs and that kind of stuff, you do that as well?
I do some of it. The truth is, when you have to be I've gone in over the years to try to look at the website and see how you need to navigate it again, because they keep changing it. But you can only go so far unless, if you're actually applying for a job, you can keep moving forward. But when you're just kind of looking at the first 3 screens, it's fine if you're not really applying for a job. But once you need to start putting in your information, that's when I'm no longer able to see it, because I'm not, as of now, applying for a job there. But there are a lot of resources, and I do agree with you, though. The go-to is to say, well, go to the resources that the government provides, but then you get there and it's not helpful. But we can strategize and talk about what you've done so far and anything you've run into. If you want to sit together and look at this website together, I'm happy to do that too. Yeah, at the same time, a lot of times it's a little different, but same idea. LinkedIn profiles, a lot of folks want those reviewed, and we can sit together and look at that and walk through it at the same time. Okay. What time is it? I'm trying to be respectful of your time. Any other questions?
I had a quick question. Do you know if
Okay.
it's possible to connect my undergraduate Handshake account with my Clark Handshake account?
Did you do your undergrad at Clark?
No.
That's a good question. Because you already kind of built a profile there, right?
Yes, I had it built and used it in undergrad, but the Clark one wanted me to use my Clark email address, so I wasn't sure if I could connect them.
I think the answer is yes. You can connect your profile to the Clark Handshake account, but what I'm thinking about is, if you don't change it to the Clark email, will you be able to see the jobs that are posted in there just for Clark University?
Yeah, I wasn't sure how it worked, so that's my question.
If you email me, I'll send you the name of the contact, the campus contact for Handshake, and because that question has probably come up before, and I think Julie, her name is Julie, she'll be able to answer that question.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. We have some time, so I'd love it if you could just take turns going around, just giving a quick introduction. We don't have a lot of time, and I know there's, I'm actually not be able to see, there's probably around 50 folks joining us. But if we could just spend a few minutes, whoever would like to start. David Smith, I'm looking at you right now. I can see your face. Would you be comfortable starting with an introduction?
Sure.
Thank you.
So I'm David. I just moved to Worcester last night.
Welcome.
So, yeah, I'm here, and I'm in the GIS program.
Great. Virginia?
Well.
Oh, go ahead, David.
Well, okay, sorry, there was a pause, and the Zoom stuff is interesting, but we can go to Virginia now.
Yeah, hi, I'm Virginia Streeter. I'm from Massachusetts originally, but I've lived in DC for the past 8 years. I'm moving to Worcester on Saturday, and I'm in the Community Development and Planning program.
Welcome. I can call on people. I can keep doing that.
I'll go.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm James. I'm from Florida, but I'm living here in Worcester now. I'm doing ID. Most likely going to choose the refugee forced migration concentration. And if anyone likes rock climbing, let me know. I'm looking for a belay buddy.
All right, I'll go. My name is Louise. Hi, everyone. From Worcester, still in Worcester. So let me know if you have any questions about Worcester. And I am in the environmental science and policy degree, which I'm super excited about. And I actually did just get an internship for the fall. So I'm very excited about it.
Where's your internship?
It's with the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs for the state of Massachusetts.
Very nice.
Yeah, so I think I'm working on, they have a tree planting project and resilient lands project that they need help with, so.
Terrific. Excellent. Thank you. Can I entice anyone else? We have like 3 minutes, so we probably have room for a few more introductions.
I guess we can introduce ourselves. I'm volunteering everyone here to introduce
Oh,
themselves.
good. There's a bunch of you. Okay.
My name is Katie Morris. My pronouns are she, her. I'm in the Community Development and Planning program and just moved to Worcester, but originally am from North Carolina. So first time in New England. And James, I'd definitely be interested in climbing, so let me know.
I'll send you a message.
Great.
Oh, that's great. See, we're already doing this. I like it. And you have more folks with you.
Yes.
Okay.
Go for it, Libby. Okay, I'm Libby. Pronouns she, her, hers. What are the other questions? I'm from Wisconsin. Yeah. I'm knitting a sock.
Oh, I did hear you say that you knit socks in your earlier introduction, and I thought that's pretty cool. And we're going to need those for the winter, as you know,
Yeah.
from
I did this
Wisconsin
for
winters.
friends, so be my friend and I'll knit you socks.
I could use socks. That's a transferable skill too.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Danny. I'm also an ID. I'm from Pittsburgh, and I'm gonna be doing the refugees and forced migration concentration.
Okay, thank you. Now, is that everybody in the room there, or?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, going.
All right, wait, I'll introduce myself.
Okay, hi, Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I just want to say thank you because I'm definitely going to be using you for help because I was a little worried about all of that. But I'm also an ID, and I wanted to throw out, I will probably also be doing the refugee concentration, so yeah.
Great, okay, good. I appreciate these introductions because I prefer, as we all do, to be in place. It's just so weird to be doing an orientation this way, but we're doing what we need to do, making the best of it. And hopefully before this academic year is out, I can see you all in 3D. And you can come to my office, which I was going to tell you where it is. You can't go there this semester, but just so you know, it's on the main floor of IDCE House, so I'm right in the building. And at the end of the hallway, very end of the hallway, room 23, 203. I forgot. It's been since March since I was there. Anyway, I'm in the main floor of the building. So I want to thank you all for being here and having the time for this because I know you've got a lot of information coming at you. I look forward to staying in touch with you and meeting with you. And I hope you attend my workshops. And if you have any questions anytime, you don't need a meeting, but you have a question, just please reach out. If you've got my emails, you've got my email address, so please stay in touch, okay? Have a good rest of orientation and a good start to the semester.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.